Welcome, everybody, to the Winners Circle Sports Betting Channel. It's Wednesday, December the 6th, and like every Wednesday, I am Ross Benjamin, by the way, and I'm joined every Wednesday by Mr. Jesse Schule and Mr. Sean Higgs, all of us of winnerscircle.net, and that's where you'll find 10 of the finest handicappers in the country, folks, including us three. And we're talking college basketball again today. Went 2-1 with our free picks in college basketball yesterday. The one loser we had was FAU, and all I could say, folks, Illinois played a terrific game. And
that was me.
FAU, I'm telling you right now, they're not in Conference USA anymore. They're in the American. It's not a one bid league like Conference USA has been in the past. And come March, watch out for that team because they got all five starters back. Tournament experience, not only tournament experience, but deep tournament experience, getting to the Final Four. And, if people don't remember, again, I mentioned this yesterday, they lose to San Diego State in the national semifinal when they were up 2 and San Diego State hit a 3 at the buzzer. So that's how close they were to playing for a national championship. But Sean, I really enjoyed watching that game yesterday, even though you had a loser on it and we agreed with you. So it's not like I told you so kind of thing. But that was a very enjoyable game to watch. A lot of up and down action, athletic talent was on display last night at Madison Square Garden.
As you mentioned, they got all their guys back. It's a talented returning roster. And I'm going to take that team. I'm going to take the unheralded team because, again, it's a Final Four team. It's kind of like Butler when Butler was kind of good. They're good little run. They're still thought of as non-power school, and I see that favored over a bigger name. And Illinois always has a tough team, right? They're always a solid program. All right, 10 out of 10, I'm going to be on that as a fave. It is what it is. It's a loss. We move on 2-1. Again, it's not one game here. We put out a couple, and come on. The show picks win more than they lose. Long term, we're going to have a loss, folks. If you don't think you're going to lose a game, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what channel that is with all the winners. But please pass it on to the three of us because we'd love to watch that show too.
Anyway,
15-0 every week, whatever they put out. Come on.
Well, I mean, again, in your premium paid selections, if you look at Sean at gamblersworld.net on the leaderboard, he's all over the leaderboards, folks. So if you want to complain about a free winner, then maybe you ought to reach in your pocket and make some money,
Get rid of the little pterodactyl arms, little dinosaur T-Rex arms. You can't reach your pocket. You ever go at the cheap guy can't reach his pocket? Come on.
Yeah. He's got short arms. Right. Jesse, Connecticut came through for you, and we all agreed on that pick as well. Actually, we were all in agreement on all of our picks yesterday. And UConn showed their wares yesterday in a quality win over North Carolina. And again, like they call in Connecticut, they call Madison Square Garden. What is it? Stores? Where their hometown is, Sean? Stores, Connecticut. Stores. They call it Stores South, and it proved to be just that yesterday.
Yeah.
Jesse? Yeah, I saw that in the comment section, Stores South. But, if Illinois played FAU again today, if they were doing like the back-to-back games on back-to-back days, I'd bet on FAU again. If you took a look at the box score, you know how Illinois won that game, guys? I don't know if you saw that. 63% shooting.
Yeah, that's 63%. Incredible.
So, I mean, I'd like to see them do that again. You know what I mean?
Well, if they did, I don't think anybody would have beat Illinois last night then, right, Jesse?
Yeah.
I mean,
no. I mean, if they had to hit 55%, they probably lose that game by 7 or 8 points. And 55% is damn good. So, I mean, you're just not going to beat a team that hits 63% of their shots. And once in a while, it's their day and they hit their shots. I mean, it was a 3-point game with 3 minutes left. It wasn't a matter of being on the wrong team. We go 2-1 on the show with the picks. And one clown in the comments has to come out and focus on that one game. And he says, and instead of giving Sean a rough ride, he gives me a rough ride because I said, I ain't no dummy. And he says, he quotes me and then says, you guys lost. Well, no, we didn't. You go 2-1, you're not losing for one thing. I I can do that math because I ain't no dummy.
I mean, you got to lead at the half on a neutral, and the team come on. I mean, Illinois shot the lights out.
And the big guy who scored 23 last night was in foul trouble down the stretch. So he had a sit.
And they're two guys. They had a two-man show. There was a back and forth. Two guys scored 70 points.
It's like Sean. It's like Jesse said.
Why are we talking? We went 2-1.
Who would have beat Illinois last night? Who would have beat Illinois last night the way they played?
I will say that aside from that one negative comment, the rest of the comment section was very civilized. And there was a couple guys that disagreed with us respectfully. A guy came on and said, "Listen, I'm taking Illinois," and he made his points why. Yeah, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he put that comment out there,
and he was very started. Right. Yes, he was very respectful. Yes,
and even the guy that says, "Hey, don't bet against Big Ten home teams." Like I said to that guy, that's true 90% of the time, except for this time. And I told him why.
Well, it's fine because they're playing in New York too. They're not playing home. If it was in
no, he was talking about the Michigan State game, which I don't think
was at East Wisconsin. And my response was, "How did I do?" Again, that's hashtag listen to the pros because.
But I think he's right though. In most cases, in 90% of cases, you don't bet against home teams in the Big Ten. However, Michigan is the one team, Wisconsin is the one team that doesn't lose on the road to the same degree that everybody else in the conference does.
There was another Big Ten road team that won last night as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. Sean will help you out because he's good at researching that while we're talking. But yes, I had Wisconsin plus the 5. They went outright by 13.
Indiana won at Michigan 78-75.
Yeah, there's another road team won. So in Indiana, it's not really. Yeah, I'm not crazy about Indiana this year either, and so it is what it is. I guess. And
this is normally, I was gonna say, Ross, we're playing in December now. These games, usually January, February. This is where you kind of take these teams because they're like 5 or 6. It looks like really wow. You got to take the home team here, but they're always. It's like SEC football. Like the Big Ten teams, you always have a bunch of guys. You got a couple in the top 5, and then you got everybody else like from 17 to 30. They're all competitive. They're all tough. They're all 9-9 in conference play. Everybody's 22-12, and so they just battle. You got to take the points. You take the dog. They win outright. They cover. They lose. 2 out of 3 is in your favor. You're taking a conference dog. It's really. Don't overthink.
Yeah, there's two. Everybody has their school of thought, I guess. When I love when guys, their Big Ten comment, the way I took it, and the way is that he knows more than us by making that comment. Like we're in the dark, and there's a better way.
I didn't mind that though, especially because he learns his lesson, right? Because he's doing what we're doing, and he's putting himself out there by acting like he knows more than us. He gets slapped across the face by putting himself out there, and it's a lesson learned. So I don't mind that. It's when you come in after the game's over and try and flex your muscles like something, and that's just really distasteful.
Let him listen. Yeah, he can have a loser. That's fine. Let him keep coming back.
I have no problem with it. But when you make a statement like that, you're professing to the audience that these guys aren't aware of the fact that Big Ten home teams win the majority of the time, and that's not true, folks. I mean, we're aware of all this stuff. If you're aware of it, we're aware of it. Other than us having no allegiance to any team in particular, and you being a fan of a particular team, you're going to know more about the individuality of that team itself. But in terms of from a sports betting perspective, you're watching this for a reason, right? Because you like sports betting. And I would challenge any of you who think they know more than us, then try to get your own podcast going, instead of being a Texan tough guy. We encourage your comments, but like I said, the one that Jesse alluded to with Illinois was the respectful way to go about it. I'm not saying the gentleman on the Big Ten home team theory was disrespectful, but by the same token, it came across to me as we're not aware of that. So come on, no matter what it is in sports betting, I think I won't get any disagreement from you two guys. You could chime in, but if you marry yourself to one theory, like always take Big Ten home teams. You're going to lose a lot of money. Okay. You need to adjust on the fly. You know, you need to acknowledge the fact that there's a high probability when it comes to certain situations, but you can't no-brain your way through this. It doesn't happen. All right. So we went 2-1 yesterday. We went 2-1 with our college basketball last week, and we got 3 big games today. We're going to discuss, speaking of the Big Ten, I'm going to be looking at the Penn State Maryland game. And then Jesse's going to look at Texas and Marquette. That's an intriguing matchup, game played at Marquette. And then Sean's going to look at the big rivalry battle between South Carolina and Clemson. I believe it's the first time these two schools have met on the hardwood where they're both undefeated at the same time. I think I overheard that last night, but I may be staying corrected. In any event, 2 undefeated teams. Let's start with you, Sean. South Carolina and Clemson. Clemson off to a surprisingly strong start. And they're an 8.5 point under or a favorite in this game, and the total in this game is 139.5. Take it away, my friend. I'm all ears.
Yeah. So it's a strong start, but I'm not shocked at this Clemson team. Last year they were 3rd in the ACC. So they can win some games. It's not a bad squad, and you got some guys back here. I'm more surprised with South Carolina starting off so strong. And again, I hate, we're talking about taking dogs, and here I am going to come in here and tell you to lay a 8.5, which is basically a 10 spot. We need Clemson to really pull away here in case the Gamecocks go on a late run here. But I look at the South Carolina schedule. Again, this is a team, if you look at a lot of, previews and preseason kind of stuff, was picked to be towards the bottom of the SEC, not that good, and yet they roll out a 7-0 start. And, they got a nice win at Grand Canyon, and we saw Grand Canyon win, beat a San Diego State team.
Yeah, that was on a neutral floor, buddy. Wasn't that
great. But that's Grand Canyon's a tough little squad. Like, that's kind of, they're not FAU type underdog kind of darling, but they're on the peripheral. If you're into college hoops, you know about that team. It's a tough little squad.
Could I interject for a second? Let me interject for 1 second.
Please do. It's your show.
I had the Grand Canyon game over last night. I won the game against San Diego State. Have you guys watched the game when they play at home? It's an incredible atmosphere at Grand Canyon. Anyway, I brought it up, Sean, on the neutral floor because it's a big difference beating Grand Canyon on a neutral floor and on their home floor. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, good point, Dagan. My point was that it's still a good squad. It's now they're not a cupcake, because we see a lot of, before they switch the schedule around, now all of a sudden you get like Big Ten matchups in the first week of December. They were all kind of cupcakes and teams. Everybody starts 15-0 because you're just, you got your Mississippi Valleys going on the road and all these Coppin states and chalking up wins. They've played some lower tier teams and they've won them. I'm just not impressed by the schedule. So at this point, I'm going to look at the schedule, what they're thought of to start the season. I'm going to go Clemson. Again, team I have rated a little higher. A couple better wins, though. You win at Pitt, you win at Alabama, higher end kind of teams. It's not a lower end DePaul who doesn't look good and stuff like that. So I'll lay it here. I know it's a rivalry game, but I just think Clemson's better. And the line tells me that they're nearly 10 points better. I'm going to take the Tigers here.
Yeah, and they're coming on offensively, too. You look at their last 4 games against pretty good competition. Elkhorn State, I guess you could eliminate in that equation. But
Boise's a tough team.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Alabama, and they beat, by the way, they beat Pitt and Alabama on the road, not a neutral floor, at Alabama and at Pittsburgh. And that should raise some eyebrows. Joe Girard, a really nice addition to the Syracuse transfer, Jesse. He's been lighting it up of late after a slow start with his new team, but this is a formidable Clemson side.
Yeah, they left the cupboards bare there at Syracuse, I think, when Girard left. I'm not too high on Syracuse this year because of that.
No.
But you look at Clemson last year in the ACC and their home record. South Carolina, kind of getting it done with smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned. They haven't really. It's tough to look at that schedule and that resume and come to any solid conclusions. I'm with Sean. It should be a double-digit win for Clemson.
Yeah,
I don't mind laying the 8.5.
One last thing I want to say, Ross, there. You brought up the win at Alabama and Pitt. Like, you go and win as an 8-9 point dog on the road. And you think the next game on the road is going to be kind of a flat spot because you're like happy with a split.
Yep.
You just had a big win, and then Pitt's at home laying a short. And think, okay, Pitt should get it done here. They're off a big win. No, they went out and took care of business again. So that's kind of a little thing I look at here. Like, it's not a team that's taking wins for granted and, all right, we won one. It's all right the next game. Nah, they think maybe they got a little something here. So,
yeah, I mean, this is also a Clemson team that scored 77 points or more in 6 of their 7 games. So, I mean, they're lighting it up offensively. And past Clemson teams, when they won, it was more so with their defensive prowess, and they did enough offensively. But this team is totally capable of lighting it up. So, anyway, Sean, tell the folks a little bit about what's going on with Sean Higgs over at gamblersworld.net. Again, people, you can check the leaderboard. Sean's all over it. Sean, go right ahead.
yeah, so 3, 6, let's see, 7, 8, 9. Hold on a second. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 21 bowl games up right now. And 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 NFL. I swore I wasn't going to go on bowl games, but I found myself yesterday and the day before going over stuff. I'm like, I'm coming in. Here I am. I put on my bathing suit and I jumped off the pier and I'm in the Atlantic in Lavallette, New Jersey, hanging out in the water.
It's a scary sight, man. It's a scary sight. Anyway, go ahead.
You know,
I'm talking about you in a bathing suit jumping into the Atlantic.
I wear a one piece. It's good. It's a tankini I wear for myself.
Anyway,
NBA. I loaded up an NBA this morning, so I'm dabbling a little bit in NBA. You see, NBA and hockey, I really don't put a lot of plays in. I kind of pick my spots there. But college basketball, I have a 3-pack up, and if you buy a weekly pass or whatever, you're going to get a lot more than 3 games. You'll have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 college basketball games all day. But I put my 3 up there that I chose in the package. So, again, college basketball free, I'm I think 70 and 80, something along those lines. I'm down a little bit in college basketball, but I'll get there. That's what I do. It's
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Folks.
It's like
the numbers are there.
You
know, if you like volume, you want to bet. Like I just said, we got 40 games up already if you buy a pass. So
here we go. Let it ride, baby. Let it ride. Jesse, you're
college football is going to be humongous, or I go 1-20 and I got a 500 season on my hand after.
I mean, the only thing I have with the problem putting college football up too early right now is we haven't looked at who's opting out and who's not. You know, that's a tough thing, man.
Remember when we talked about this, Sean said he wasn't going to put out any games because he didn't know. He said he was just going to wait and see. And I said to Sean, well, you could foresee that guys like Caleb Williams aren't going to play. And then Ross is like, oh, that'll be already baked in. Sorry, I got a pretty good memory for recalling these things. But the point the long-winded point I'm getting to is, did you see when Caleb Williams announced he wasn't going to play, there was like shock and horror and surprise from the media, like, oh my God, Caleb Williams opted out. I was like, of course he did.
Well, how about the Ohio State guys all opted out? Like no one thought like that wasn't baked in. You think that whole why wouldn't people think they were going to opt out?
You guys' favorite quarterback,
quarterback transfers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Marvin Harrison,
6-point games for a 3-point dog.
Marvin Harrison's talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. talking about going into the transfer portal. Wow. Anyway, Jesse, you got a good one. Texas and Marquette. At Marquette. Marquette's an 8-point favorite. The total in this game is 150.5. Marquette, a 2-loss team against a 1-loss team. Marquette's -8. That jumped right out at me, Jesse. I don't know if it did you, but then you look at who Marquette's played so far this year, and you understand why and some of the quality opposition they faced. And they do own a win over at Illinois. On Illinois' home floor. We saw how good Illinois was last night. So, Jesse, take it away.
Yeah, in my opinion, a similar game to the one you assigned me yesterday. And the same sort of thing. You first glance, you see that big number, and you're talking about a number 12 ranked team, and they're catching 8 points. Oh, what's going on here? But you dig a bit deeper, and it seems well justified. One of the surprises about yesterday's game is I said some disparaging things about the Tar Heels, and their fan base didn't come to their defense in the comments section. Well, I'm going to spice it up a little bit more when I disparage Texas here today. I'm not sold on this Texas team. I think they're overrated. They lost their top 3 scorers from last year, and they bring in Max Absmus. And, he led the nation in scoring in 2021. I think he averaged almost 25 points per game that year. It's been a slight decline every year. Of course, that was with Oral Roberts in the Summit. Now he's in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is not the Summit. And, he's struggling. He's well below 20 points per game. His toughest game was against UConn, and double-digit loss for Texas against UConn. Absmus, 10 points, 4 of 14 shooting. So, is this kid going to be as good as they expected him to be? Call me a skeptic. I think there's a reason why he hasn't declared for the NBA yet. He might not be a bona fide NBA type player, and the Big 12 might be too big for him. But Marquette, 16-1 at home last year, number 1 in the Big East. They've got an impressive resume so far this season. Home court, I think it should be a relatively smooth, easy win for Marquette here.
Yep, Marquette minus the 8 over Texas. And, that was an Oral Roberts team that you referred to that he played on that I believe went to the Elite 8 that year before he transferred. So, in any event, Sean, you're looking at a quality Marquette team here. I mean, not to take anything away from Texas, but the one competitive game that they played was against UConn. They lost by 10. Their other wins, Incarnate Wood, Delaware State, Rice, a Louisville team, and they only got by Louisville 81-80. That's not a very good Louisville team. Wyoming and Texas State. Marquette, I mean, they lose at Wisconsin. We know how good Wisconsin is, especially on their home floor. They lose to Purdue by 3, but they beat Kansas by 14. They beat UCLA, and they beat Illinois on their home floor. This is a really good Marquette team. Sean?
I did, I don't know what it is. I just cannot, even last year, I can't take Marquette. I got to take Texas here. And I get it. I was on UConn yesterday, which it's a big number, and you look at this one, 8, now it's 8.5, or even 8's out there, and you look at the Texas schedule, like they beat nobody, they don't cover any number, but I'm not sold on Marquette for some reason, and they're great. Like that's at 60-1 last year. They were Big East champs. No one talk about fly under the radar squad, but I don't know. You come out here as a 8.5 point big fave, you're off the loss, maybe I don't know. I've seen Marquette win at home all the time, but something tells me as bad as Abes has been coming, again, you're not going to score 25 coming out of the Summit to the Big 12, and I don't think they expected him to score that. I think they just want to kind of plug them and, have a balanced attack. I kind of like the Texas team as a whole talent-wise, but again, you're working on another head coach, right? They've switched these things up the last couple of years. I'm going to take the points here with Texas. Just because it's just a personal bias I have against the Golden Eagles. I don't know. I don't know why. Last year, I think
days, Sean, where are you living?
No, that's no reason why I like the Longhorns here. That's I like Washington in the playoffs over Texas. But no, I don't. The Derek Jeter, as a Yankee fan, Derek Jeter's the most overrated hitter ever. Overrated guy. He's Omar Vizquel with a better looking and a better girlfriend portfolio. That's about it. All right, so there's comes
Jesse. Jesse,
these guys were 37-2 last year, Marquette. Shaka Smart. Good job, bro. I mean, he failed in Texas. He goes here. He's crushing it. He's crushing it under the radar.
Yeah, he's a very good coach. You remember Shaka Smart took VCU.
VCU? I mean, I don't understand. You thought he'd go to Texas. I was like, wow, this guy's going to be awesome there. And he was ho-hum. But yet and again, Marquette's a Big East school, but it's not like UConn or Nova or the big name out of there. This ain't 1978 Marquette, with
Al McGuire.
Great coach.
Yeah.
Great coach. He's a guy who just thrives in that, I guess, less media kind of, okay, we'll be number one in our own area here. Like we're not UConn where it's going to be national spotlight. Fabulous coach. I love the guy as a coach. I do.
Yeah. Everything's big in Texas, Jesse, including Mr. Higgs. So in any event, I agree with Jesse. I am going to agree with my buddy Jesse on this one, with no disrespect to you, my man, Sean.
No worries. You go
But
2-1 again. It's all right.
I just think it's I just think it's a heavy line, as Chip likes to put it. And they're inviting you to, if you just look at this on the surface and see Texas as an 8-point underdog here, I think the person who doesn't look any deeper than that's going to be very invited and lured into taking the underdog here. And I think Marquette's the side here. I do. I just like the quality of competition they faced so far. They got not only the quality of competition, it's one thing playing a tough schedule. It's another thing posting wins. I mean, winning at Illinois, beating Kansas, beating UCLA. Those are quality wins against top 25 caliber competition. So I'm gonna agree with Jesse here and take Marquette. But Jesse, tell the folks a little bit about what's going on with Mr. Schule over at gamblersworld.net and anything of note you would like to share with the audience.
Yeah, nobody actually came at me in the comment section, but when quoting my hot streaks, I made a error yesterday, and I forgot that a loser snuck in there. It was supposed to be a free play and got entered in as a premium play on the Jets on Sunday. So let me correct my hot streaks. I will strictly refer to my top plays: 7-1 with top NFL this year, 33-11 with all top plays in all sports since the end of the end of August. So that encompasses the entire football season, but that's 33-11 with top plays, all sports since the end of August. So
wow.
Yeah, that's pretty good where I come from. And that is propping me up on some of the leaderboards on days where I go 1-1, like I did yesterday. I had Boise State in college hoops, cashed in a pretty close winner, but the hockey game I had the Vancouver Canucks. They were losing by 3 goals in the third period, tie it up in the final minute, and then give up the loser 30 seconds later.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts when that happens. So
I think you can laugh it off as long as it's not a top play, right?
Yes, but still, to make that kind of comeback and then
be
so ecstatic that you came back from the dead and you might be able to steal a win here, and then 30 seconds later let the air out of the balloon. So it's nothing worse than that. But in any event, Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs, 2 terrific handicappers, folks, at gamblersworld.net. And again, folks, at gamblersworld.net, we guarantee all our picks, which simply means all our single game and multi-game daily packages and all subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. If you do not win, you do not make a profit, we will credit your account the exact amount of your purchase price. So again, we'd like to think more times than not, it's a moot point, and we're pretty sure that of being the case, but it gives you a peace of mind at the same time. Penn State at Maryland is my game. And right now, Maryland's a 7.5-point favorite, and the total is 138. And again, when you look at these two teams, they're both 4-4. They seem like mirror images of each other. So with that being said, this sticks out to me as quote unquote a heavy line with all considered. Penn State started out 4-0. Their last 4, they've been brutal. 0-4 straight up in ATS in their last 4, including a 76-67 home loss to Bucknell in their previous game. And in that contest, they closed as a 21.5-point home favorite and lose the game by 9 to a team from the Patriot League. Their defense over this 4-game losing streak has been horrific. They're allowing 84.8 points per game and 55.2% shooting for the opposition combined over that 4-game losing streak. There are only 4 wins this year: Delaware State, Lehigh, St. Francis of Pennsylvania, and Morehead State. Shake your head when you look at that type of competition, not exactly the who's who of college basketball. And this will be their first true road game, and that's something of note as well. Not only are they 4-4, but they haven't even played a true road game yet. Now, Maryland, 4-4, but again, on the road in neutral sites, they're 0-4, but at College Park, they're 4-0, and they've covered 3 of those 4. And they have an average margin of victory of 19.7 points per game at home, albeit against less than stellar competition as well. Considering these teams have identical records and have beaten virtually nobody of note, again, I just think this is a heavy line, and I'm going to trust the odds makers here when that type of situation occurs. And I'm going to take the Terps. Give me Maryland -7.5 over Penn State. Sean?
I agree. I mean, Maryland, you got Maryland's off a loss at Indiana, who we just saw go on a road and win in the Big Ten. So they, they're not a bad squad. And the Bucknell team, you give up 76 to Bucknell. They couldn't score 50, scored 49 against Marist. This is the team that scores like 60 a game. And Maryland scored nearly 70, 80, almost 80 points, 76 points on the road. And Penn State's got some problems.
Especially defensively. You're right. Exactly. I mean, again,
yeah,
you can't allow 55% shooting by the opposition over a 4-game stretch and expect to have positive results. So Jesse, any take on this one, buddy?
I'm hoping the Penn State defense brings it here because I got the under 138. If you look at the last 5 head-to-head meetings between these two teams, only once have we seen either one of these teams score 70 points. Yeah. In 4 of the last 5 meetings, both teams failed to score 70 points. Maryland averages fewer than 70 points per game. They allow, 65 per game. They're pretty strong defensively. At home, they're the big favorite. They're supposed to control the pace. I expect them to be very good defensively, and let's hope they don't score 80 here and they keep it to the low 70s and give up, 60 or something.
Yeah. Hopefully you're not late to the party.
You said once in their last 9 games, both teams have scored 70.
Once in their last 5.
Yeah, my only
in the last 5.
For both of them to score 70, you got to go all the way back 9 games.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying neither of them. So both of them scored in the 60s in 4 of the last 5 meetings.
Crazy.
74. Yeah, I don't disagree with that underpick. But to use your phrase, Jesse, I hope you're not late to the party. It's opened at 141. It's down to as low as 137 now in some spots. So I flirted with
college hoops this year, Ross. I look at those numbers. And everything I like is the same story, and those lines don't last long. I don't know how long. Was I ever really able to get that 140 is the question I'm asking.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I do know what you mean. And I flirted with taking the under. It's not like I'm totally opposed to it. But what bothered me was the line move. I loved it at 141 when I looked at it yesterday. When I first started to research this game. And then I woke up this morning ready to write this up and give it to the audience. And I saw it go down to 137. And then after further research, when looking at Penn State's defensive numbers over the last 4, I shied away. But I don't disagree with that.
I'll tell you what, I'm dead set against taking inferior lines if I'm late to the party. That being said, though, right now with college hoops, if I wasn't betting on games like this with a bit of line movement, I wouldn't be betting on any games because everything I like, 5 minutes after opening is that those numbers are gone.
I do my college basketball the night before. I write these down the minute I see them, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Sometimes you get done writing them down because I'm old school, so I write all the lines down. I go back an hour later, they've already moved a point. I'm like, what the? Unless you're going to do it that second. I don't do one at a time. I write them down and then I go through.
And we're both pretty good at, or we're all pretty good at isolating a bad number, but you like to give it a 15 or 20 minutes to marinate in your head and see if it moves. And you want to see if it moves a half a point one direction, but when it just disappears in 15 minutes, it's pretty frustrating.
Really, it takes you about, depending on the size of the card, it's going to take you about 15, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour, and like a Saturday, forget it. But on a day like last night, you should have you can't even get them. They just. And it used to be not like that. Is it because, there's always been people who moved ahead of time on opening numbers. It just seems now, is it like?
I think the legalization in the states of a lot of, as opposed to just the state of Nevada has a lot to do with that. There's a lot more money being got legally,
I'm going to say there's I guess, groups now in every state that has moved numbers
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
not Joe Better
Yep.
because they're worried about live bet in the NBA playoff in-game tournament. That's not
Well,
the
I
average
will-
line. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say this: general public, most of the general public loves the bet games over the total. So when you see a line like this move from 141 to 137, it's a good indication there's some pretty big and sharp money that the books respect to make that kind of move. So it's not like people line up at the window. The general public doesn't line up at the window to play a under in college basketball 20 minutes after the line comes out. So again, to Jesse's point as well. All right. So you could find me over at gamblersworld.net too, folks. I 8-2 at my last 10 in college basketball, going back to last year, March the 11th, 38-25 with my last 63 in college basketball, good for 60%. All sports continues to pile up money. Again, I mentioned it yesterday. It's worth mentioning again today. Since August 4th of this year, all sports, a record of 188 and 132. That's 320 picks, 59%. And my dime bettors over that course of time, up $43,320. My NBA sides, 48-20 since April 11th, and that's good for 71%. NFL coming off a 6-2 week. College football 4-2 the last 2 weeks. College football 70-48 since December 2nd of last year, and the NFL around 59% since week 2. So a lot of good things going on with me over at gamblersworld.net, as well as Sean Higgs and Jesse Schule. Don't forget, folks, if you're watching, you're interested in sports betting, if you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it's 100% absolutely free and there's no strings attached. If you're watching on your PC, you'll see a WC logo right underneath the video box here, and just click on that. That'll get you subscribed for free. If you're on your mobile device or your smart TV, there's a black subscribe button right underneath there. That will serve the same purpose. Just hit that. And I'm going to ask you to take just one step further, and this applies to those of you who have subscribed already, who we appreciate very much. And if you haven't done this, if you're a current subscriber and a new subscriber, what you want to do is go into your YouTube settings and click on the alert notification bell for the Winners Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon us publishing any of our podcasts here on our great channel. And folks, we do 6 shows a week, so we'll keep you informed and entertained throughout the entirety of the week. Anyway, Jesse, there's a like button right underneath.
Smash that like button.
All right, smash that like button, folks. Just a small token of appreciation for the work, time, and effort we put in to giving you a quality podcast right here on the Winners Circle Sports Betting channel. And most of all, and this has been our theme since we started this show 3.5 years ago till now, and it will continue to be, we want to make you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. And that includes all of you who watch every day. So you can never pick up too much information on a daily basis. So, excuse me, again, for Jesse Schule, Sean Higgs, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.